Yes, this is a crossover edition of Locked on Auburn and Locked on Razorbacks. I'm Zach Blackerby of Locked on Auburn. He is the John Nabors of Locked on Razorbacks. Auburn heads to Fayetteville this season, and what could end up being a pretty important game for both sides. I guess it's technically in the second half of the season. It's going to be important. I don't think there's any question about it.
No, I don't think there's any question about it. I think that there have been weird games between these two opponents for a while. And last year, thankfully Arkansas was able to win that game, win all their games because they got to a bowl game barely at 6-6. But it was an interesting game last year where it was Hank Brown. Was that his name?
Yes, it was Hank Brown.
That started quarterback.
The baby goat. Yes.
Yeah. And I think Razorback fans were thankful for that. A little bit closer, a few too many turnovers for Auburn. But, this is a year where Arkansas fans feel like they may not be as good. Maybe Auburn fans are a little bit more optimistic they'll be a little bit better. So being in Fayetteville doesn't really matter because Arkansas doesn't play very well at home anyway. So it could just have all the makings for another weird, chaotic, crazy game.
Yeah. I mean, Auburn has played pretty well in Fayetteville down over the years. I mean, even when it seemed like Arkansas had the better team, it seemed like Auburn would win there. So, how much does that matter this year? I don't know. That might depend on who you ask. But as far as Auburn being better this season than previous years, I think that's the case. Jackson Arnold is going to be the headliner of that, and then obviously Eric Singleton, Cam Coleman on the receiving end. There's just not going to be a whole lot of teams that can cover them from a personnel standpoint. And we'll see how Arkansas tries to defend this offense.
Well, what about Caleb Gooden? I mean, the guy that
Wooden.
Yeah, or Wooden. I mean, come on now.
Caleb Wooden.
Yes. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, how about him?
Yeah,
right?
You guys asked Coach Freeze on Tuesday about him, and he had very good things to say.
Of course he did. Of course he did. He's a great player. It's going to be a difference maker for Arkansas. But no, that is the ultimate thing for anytime Arkansas plays a team, especially with a good offense and good receivers. It usually doesn't go very well. The passing game, it's tough to play in college football and have a great pass defense, but it seems like Arkansas has very much struggled for that. That's where I'm looking at this particular matchup to where it could be a high-scoring game because Arkansas, with Taylen Green and the Bobby Petrino offense, as we all know, it's capable of putting up a lot of production, a lot of yards. Arkansas did not get it into the end zone as much as you would think with all the production that they had last year. And that's something that Bobby Petrino and Sam Pittman have been working on. But this could be a defensive optional type of game. And some people may say that's exciting. Some people may say that's good. But it's also going to be fascinating of what these two teams even look like by the time they meet. Because there's a lot of games. Arkansas's got some tough games before that, too. Are they going to be teams that are confident going into these matchups? Are they going to be dead in the water? Sam Pittman, is he basically going to be fired? Is Hugh Freeze out on a rail? I mean, there's just so many elements and variables to this besides what's going on the field that could make a huge factor into what this game's going to be.
No question. I mean, either one of these teams, if the first half of the season doesn't go the way that it could, or worst possible scenario, how much buy-in is there? Is there somebody else coaching these teams? Who's going to be at quarterback? I mean, whatever that might be. Yeah, I mean, both of these teams have realities on their schedule where things could go south before this game. So that's 100% a factor as we kind of look ahead at this matchup. Now, I'm glad you mentioned Taylen Green, which of course you would as we're previewing this, but I think he's way better than a lot of people realize. I just don't think the pieces around him are that great. I'm a Taylen Green guy. I believe in his ability to play quarterback in this league, and I think with that Petrino offense, I think Arkansas is going to move the football.
No, I do too. I think that's where any Razorback fan, even though they're not very hopeful for this upcoming season, if they were going to point to something and say, hey, this is why I feel good, it's because of Taylen Green. It's because of Bobby Petrino. And Taylen Green's not the best quarterback in the league or in the country or anything like that. But when you're 6'6" and you can have a great touch on your deep pass, when you got legs on you that you can run faster than a lot of the players you're going to be going up against, sometimes it's not about let's think about the matchups and the schemes and how they're going to be going up. Sometimes it's just playmakers making plays, and he's a hard player to prepare for. So there may be times this year that Arkansas wins games and has success based solely on Taylen Green going out there and doing Taylen Green things instead of having to worry about his line blocking or running it out or anything like that. He just does Taylen Green things.
Yeah, and Arkansas is in a unique situation because a lot of the teams in the SEC are replacing a quarterback. whether it's, through NFL draft or transfer portal, whatever it might be. Arkansas has their guy, and they know that they can at least compete with Taylen Green based on what they saw last year. So we'll see how much of a benefit that is. It's still such a small sample size as far as like the right exact way to compete in this transfer portal era. So I think that'll be interesting. Hey, let's take some stabs at how exactly this game could go between Auburn and Arkansas in just a moment, right here on this crossover edition of Locked on Auburn and Locked on Razorbacks. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Gametime. John, can you imagine buying tickets anywhere other than with our friends at Gametime?
No, I can't. So that's why I don't do that.
No. We're in Atlanta for SEC Media Days, and it seems like there's like literally 10,000 things going on every night that we're here, from Beyonce concerts to all-star games to WWE stuff, and I'm sure that's just touching the surface. The cool thing about Gametime is you can save up to 60% buying last-minute tickets. Are you kidding me? And we can even add a little bit more to that. Use promo code LOCKEDONCollege for 20% off your first order. Just download the Gametime app for free today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. John Nabors, Locked on Razorbacks. I'm Zach Blackerby of Locked on Auburn. When the Auburn Tigers head to Fayetteville, I predict Auburn will win this game. John, I'm sure that surprises you none.
It doesn't surprise me at all. And here's the thing. Arkansas, with the schedule that they have, extremely difficult, mainly their road games. They have one of the toughest schedules in all of college football.
Okay.
I was even discussing this on my Locked On here recently, that the Auburn game might be, as far as conference games go, their second easiest game besides Mississippi State.
Who's their non-conference opponent?
They play Notre Dame. Yeah.
Got it.
They also have a road game at Memphis for some reason.
Why did y'all agree to that?
I wish I knew.
Okay.
Yeah. No, don't forget the big rivalry of Arkansas and Arkansas State in Little Rock too. The list goes on and on. But it's okay though. The road games in the SEC, it really lightens up because you have to go to Ole Miss, to LSU, to Texas, and to Tennessee.
So how does that brutal schedule impact this game specifically from the Arkansas point of view?
Well, it's going to depend once again on what the season has looked like so far for Arkansas, but it's as weird as it is, and it's not more of an insult towards Auburn. It's almost going to be like a relief of finally getting a team that you don't go out on the field and there's just 5-star players across the board and playoff intentions and coaches that have been around forever. It's more just like, oh, thank goodness. Finally, we get somebody that we feel we have a chance at beating going into this.
Yeah, and from a roster standpoint, like, look, the Auburn thing may not work out this year. It may not. I think there's a solid chance that it does, but if it doesn't work out, it's not going to be because of the pedigree of the roster. I mean, you mentioned 5 stars, and it's like, well, Jackson Arnold's at quarterback, Cam Coleman's at wide receiver, Eric Singleton was the number 1 player in the transfer portal, Xavier Chaplin at tackle was the top tackle in the portal, and he's in NFL mock drafts in the first round. Mason Murphy, the other tackle, was the number 2 tackle in the portal. I mean, they're decorated with highly touted guys, but once again, like, I understand your point. Like, you listed all those teams. Like, that's a brutal schedule. I didn't realize it was that tough for Arkansas. But once again, on the Arkansas side of it, like, sure, it could beat them down, but if you win 2 of those games, all of a sudden you can save your season. And, that game against Auburn would probably be one that would be circled where it's like, hey, if we can be competitive with Notre Dame, or if we can, take on whoever, like, surely we can, win this game. And also, Arkansas went into Jordan-Hare last year and won. Like, let's don't dismiss that either.
Yeah, and well, Arkansas and Auburn, in just a few times they played, I know Auburn's gone through a couple coaches over the past few years.
Sure.
But it seems like Arkansas at home, as you mentioned earlier, they just don't do well against Auburn. Arkansas with Sam Pittman, when they went 8-4 that year, which they were a really solid team.
Yeah.
Auburn came into Fayetteville and beat the crap out of them. And it was so strange looking back. I was like, how is a 6-6 Brian Harsin Auburn team coming into Arkansas? But there's just something about it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a matter of catching teams at the right time. We'll see what time the game's at. I know that plays a factor into it, but I just feel like with Arkansas and going into Auburn, the confidence level has to be higher. It has to be higher than what it was a few years ago. They have to be able to be a team that can at least look at Auburn and say, hey, if we play our best game, we're going to win this game and win it easily. But it's just a matter of, can you do enough throughout the season leading up to it to retain that confidence? Because if you go into that game with no confidence and you're feeling woe is me, Auburn's going to beat the brakes off of you, plain and simple.
So who are you picking, Auburn or Arkansas?
Oh, I'm gonna pick Arkansas, of
There you
course.
go.
Yeah,
There you
the
go.
Razorbacks. You
Hey,
know, because they do well. Then
Can I put you on the spot? Do you mind?
sure, why not?
We're here at SEC Media Days in Atlanta. Percentage chance that Sam Pittman is here next year.
I will put that at a 30%.
Okay.
30% chance
Got it.
that he's still here next year, unless he gets a job somewhere else in the SEC. Hires him as head coach. So could happen.
You're saying another SEC team hire Sam Pittman as head coach?
Yeah, I mean Arkansas is going to hire Nick Saban or John Gruden, one of the two. That happens, and who knows? Maybe Auburn, after you guys fire Hugh Freeze, you go hire another coach from the state of Arkansas and decide, hey, let's get this guy in. So maybe that happens.
Yeah. Arkansas hires Nick Saban. Auburn hires Pittman. Okay, got it.
I mean, it makes sense to me. Argue that logic.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of logic there. No, I totally get it. That's funny. No, it is going to be wild that, since, Greg McElroy saying that, Nick Saban might return to coaching or whatever, anybody who's like has a coach on the hot seat, it's like, they're like, look, I don't know if this is legitimate or not, but like, let's think about it for a second, right?
Oh yeah, listen, I can't wait to get the plane tracking season and finding where Nick Saban's whereabouts are at and seeing if they got a private airport around in his vicinity, because it's going to be so much fun to see all that chaos going on.
That's crazy. That's crazy. How long has this episode gone? I don't have a clock in front of me.
It has gone on for roughly 12 minutes.
Okay. All right. For all the Auburn folks watching, John Nabors, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
It's Locked On Razorbacks. You can find wherever you want to hear about the Razorbacks, basketball, football, baseball, all the good stuff. It's Locked On Razorbacks. You can find it wherever podcasts are found, on YouTube. It's all up to you, baby. You can also follow me on social media at John Nabors Show.
Yeah, and if you're on the Arkansas side of things, you want more Auburn content for some reason, check out Locked On Auburn wherever you get your podcasts. For John Nabors of Locked On Razorbacks, I am Zach Blackerby of Locked On Auburn. This has been a crossover edition brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network.